right. And then let me just show you something else real quick. We got enough people to start. But show you this.
Oh, quick question. That packet that you were just showing, is that on Patreon or is that on like the PDFs?
No, it's not nowhere yet. It's not done yet.
Oh, it's not. No, okay.
No, I'm working on this now. That's why I was like, if I didn't get enough people to check in tonight, I was just gonna continue to work on this. I was supposed to be finished with it already, but I had a few things pop up like the last day or two. So I had to get them done kind of during the day hours. But yeah, so this will be once it's done, then we'll end up doing like a lesson plan on it, and I'll make it available for you guys to look at. And then like I was saying before, I don't know if anybody just came in, all of the chapters will have to be continued at the end of it, just because I have a few more books regarding certain issues and particular dimensions. So, the ones you receive won't be complete until them books is done. Once you see the version on, let's say I'll store it on Google Drive. Once you see, no yellow and black sign on there, you know that'll be the completed version of it, at least for a presentation, you know. But yeah, let me just read this for you. So dimension 5, right? Now these are tough. So let me just show you this equation that I was coming up with. Each variable that you see here is indicative of a dimension, right? And what is the new feature or degree of freedom which is introduced in each dimension. And some of these, like, you're not going to find this nowhere else in terms of at least the way it's broken down. This is all my own. I don't know if it's right I know it's right in terms of the breakdown, but how you write equations, I don't know how to do that. It's just meant to represent something. It's not like a legitimate equation where I have mathematics behind it. Okay. But like I said, each value represents a dimension. So we'll include every dimension in this other than zero, other than the zenith, right? So in dimension 1, everybody knows we got length. Dimension 2, that's width or the establishment of a plane, right? Dimension 3, which is space or height or depth. Then you have dimension 4 now, right? So I've established that as man. The reason why is because dimension 4 is indicative of consciousness. But we know that consciousness has different variations. So you have the Most High God, you have the angels, and then you have man. And obviously, you can include animal in there, but I'm including man as the highest form of animal, therefore having the highest form of consciousness and residing in the same domain as animals. So we would be like their representatives compared to, maybe the different types of beings that live in the heavenly realms and so on and so forth. But I've decided to make it man because this is the level of conscious awareness, which allows for time to take place. Because without awareness, you can't have movement or motion. And without motion, or without time, there's no motion. And without motion, there's no time, right? Dimension 5 would be like the mastery of the mind or the mastery of consciousness. And through the Torah Tanakh lens, we've come to know that as, I guess, knowledge, or I want to term it wisdom. You see, I have wisdom. It's the introduction of wisdom or choice or decision making and the mastery of it. But this is not like the ultimate form of wisdom in the conscious universe. It's just the ultimate form of wisdom that man can attain while in a human body. Does that make sense to you guys?
What I'm getting from it is like operating at your highest level, mentally and spiritually.
Right. Pretty much, just to put it simple. So like, like a Moses at his peak, or like the prophets at their peak, this would be the space that they would be operating in. right? At least while locked into the physical body. You understand what I'm saying? So, for instance, this is the reason why the angels perhaps are able to take them during waking visions and dreams and carry them, to particular places along the timeline so that they can witness it spiritually. Their bodies aren't there physically, but they are there observing it. Kind of like that the movie Interstellar, when he goes into that fourth or fifth dimensional um I guess place where he's able to look behind these strings or these chords and find different moments in time that have to do with his daughter's life. And then that's how he's able to communicate with the daughter by using the watch and twitching the lever on the watch to speak to her in Morse code.
All of this is one little girl's bedroom, every moment. It's infinitely complex. They have access to infinite time and space, but they're not bound by anything. They can't find a specific place in time. They can't communicate. That's why I'm here. I'm gonna find a way to tell Murph, just like I found this moment.
How, Cooper?
Love, Tars, love. It's just like Grand said. My connection with Murph, it is quantifiable. It's the key.
What are we here to do?
Find out, I tell her. The watch. The watch. That's it. We code the data into the movement of the second hand. Tars, translate the data into Morse and feed it to me.
Translating data to Morse. Cooper, what if she never came back for it?
She will. She will.
Murph, I can see his car! He's coming, Murph!
Okay, I'm coming down.
How do you know?
Because I gave it to her.
I want you to peep again the correlation between emotions, memory, and time travel, right? So
Roger, Morse is dot dot dash dot.
Dot, dot. Dash. Dot.
see how there are individual strings attached to the physical objects, which he's able to kind of pluck and play or manipulate, right? So perhaps this is what demons see on the other side of the veil, where they're able to maybe slightly manipulate certain objects depending on how strong the demon is, right? How strong the occult connection is to the object, the energetic connection is to the object, right? Let's go. The emotional connection to the object.
Dot dash dot dot.
He came back! It was him! All this time, I didn't know it was him! Dad's gonna save us!
Let me see. So he's communing with her this way. So let's go. Giving formulas, giving mathematical principles, giving notions which maybe man cannot think of on their own, and then passing them off to those who are communicating beyond the veil. So, a la seances in the old times, getting possessed, then writing, doing what do they call that again? Automatic writing, right? Where they channel this information and these equations and mathematical principles and material presumptions. right? The demons doing it, using the body. Now they don't need that no more. Now you got quantum computers and CERN, right? Allowing demons maybe access to the electrical grid, and then giving them a algorithm to operate through called artificial intelligence, and then working on bodies, physical bodies for the artificial intelligence, right? So that these demons have better bodies than biological ones to house this time around, right? You can see how the possibilities open up, but you can go anywhere with subject matter like this at this point. But I think the point is made with the video. At least did you guys understand what I was trying to say with the information?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
The fifth dimension is unique in its introduction of wisdom or the mastery of choice or decision into the integration of conscious awareness and material experience. Accessing the well of infinite potential requires what the scriptures have termed the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit, right? Now, I'm not saying that this dimension is where the Ruach HaKodesh resides. I'm just saying that this is the realm of existence that man has to at least touch, on a brief basis, if not consistently, in order to get access to the Ruach HaKodesh, or union with the Spirit. You see what I'm saying? So that leads us to this. Hey, just keep in mind what I read to you in the red from the fourth dimension. This is meant to piggyback. So a mind within the fifth dimension can control time or duration in more expansive ways than just back and forth. Okay, meaning past to future, along a single timeline. These beings have the degrees of freedom required to establish parallel timelines for their maximized efforts in analyzing the infinite potential of the conscious mind associated with said timelines branching potentiality. So I'll let you guys go ahead and tell me what's being said, or what's meant by that statement. Let's see how well I've done. If I haven't done a good enough job, then I got to go in and make it simpler and modify it.
Um, Looking at all the different possibilities as far as decisions you can make, and understanding that you have the ability to choose any of those paths based on what you do in the present. That's what I'm getting from it.
Okay, yeah, that's part of it. So I'll read it again, right? A being of the fifth dimension, right, or with fifth dimensional capabilities, in order to have that ability, it's required to establish parallel timelines for their maximized effort in analyzing the infinite potential of the conscious mind associated with said timelines branching potentiality. So the simple way to put this is being a master of discernment, right? So how the scriptures tell us that we have to discern, being able to calculate in your mind what the possible outcomes are and what the probabilities of the outcomes are based on your actions, based on your 0 and 1 selection, or even your non-selection, the option to not make a choice. Even that is a choice in it and of itself, right? So a being of fifth dimensional capability, or a being, or a person, I should say, so I don't make it seem like this is something that man cannot reach. This is a state within man. So
This like kind of not fully, but kind of accessing like all possibilities and probabilities.
yeah, on the
Into
earliest scale.
Okay.
So that's like the beginning of the accessing of those things. And you'll see as you move further up in the dimensions, as the degrees of freedom begin to spread out or make themselves available, you'll have more ability to select within given selection. And then within that given selection, there's another set of given selections. So it's like being able to manage all of those type of things. By the end of it, you should really get an appreciation for what kind of mind our God would have to be in order to be able to manage all of those uh, possibilities and probable combinations of said possibilities, and then give us a work like the Torah Tanakh in order for us to understand which exact timeline we are on. While everybody else is going to be flipping out, well, I don't know what timeline we're on. They done did this and did that. God already selected the timeline which is going to play out. You see what I'm saying? But everybody else in the world won't they won't admit that we're the children of the book. So because they don't admit we're the children of the book, they can't get a gauge for the context of the story, because that's like going to a play and not knowing what the characters are, or what the premise of the the story is. Imagine you don't even know what the premise of the story is, right? But then you don't even know who the characters are. So how are you really following the story? You can't. See what I'm saying? So you can't follow the timeline. So it don't matter how nice they are with certain information, if they're not of our people, or God hasn't given these other nations insight into the book, then you know they have no idea what's coming. No matter how much Project Looking Glasses and chronovisors they create, is for naught. It's impossible. But this here is representative of like the fifth dimension. So this is why you see the little 5D here in the corner, and you see the 4D here for animal man. So why not 3D for animal man? Because even animal man has a conscious mind, no matter how small the conscious mind is or underdeveloped. So with animal man, it's just about base level physical, emotional, and mental gratification. Eating, sleeping, pissing, shitting, and sexual euphoria, right? Then there's the elevation above that into, let's say, the worldly man, a man who's more socially aware, right? This is the type of people who can not only build, operate, but coexist within civilization or social environments in groups without succumbing to the basic animal instincts, right? He's able to at least think on some level and manage them. Doesn't manage them the best, but has the ability to manage them when they choose to. So that's where most people are, right? Most people are in this worldly man place. So this is like the erection of the temple. Okay, so the temple of Solomon, the worldly man as the temple under construction. So the mind under construction. Now, when you move into this fifth dimension that I was briefly referencing, now you have the manifestation of the moral agent, or what we call Torah man, or angelic man, or the Mashiach, right? Somebody who can reach this fifth dimensional plane of understanding while residing in a three-dimensional body, right? So these are what you would call your prophets, or in our case, since prophets only come from our people and our culture, these are your Isaiahs, your Ezras, your Daniels, your Moseses, your Joshuas. Okay. Now, do they, when we read the book, let me ask you guys, do they stay at this level permanently, or do these men have moments where they reach peaks and then they fall back? They reach peaks and then they fall back.
I know even Moses had fell short at a point with the rock.
Yeah, I believe they all went back and forth with it. They would do good and fall back, get tempted, and then get back on track.
There you go. And that aligns itself with another meme that we had that we use to explain, I think. So that's this image that we had here. Okay. This constant pursuance of perfection. You'll never be perfect. It's just not possible. But what we can do is reach brief moments of perfection and just try to reach that as many times as possible and try to sustain it for as long as possible. It's like thinking about an athlete's career, except you're doing this for your whole life. You got, or at least you don't know how long you're going to be living. So, just like an athlete doesn't know how long, their actual career is going to last. But while you're there, you want to show out the best way that you can and at the highest level possible. And you want to do both the best way that you can and the highest level possible for as long as you can. That's the goal. That's the whole point of life. And then enjoying the journey along the way, the pits and falls and the challenges and the temptations and all things which are meant to test your character and test how serious you are about the principles that you claim you hold. Like all of these things are for our refinement, if you will, or for our own good, our perfectioning. I think in many ways, this is really the main notion as to how we're made or we're being made in the image of the creator after the actual creation or birthing process. See what I'm saying? It's a coming out of perfection, being born into imperfection, and then striving to be reintroduced back into the fold of perfection again. Right. So it's again represented by that sign, that ebb and flow, that up and down experience. Without it, you wouldn't have physical experience. Like none of this would be possible. So even when I'm saying that to say this, even when people look at people have reached particular levels of brilliance or have reached what they deem their purpose is, or what other people have deemed their purpose is, there's still an element of humility that can always be had, because no man is perfect. There's shady things, or I'll term it that way. There are shady things that everybody has, and I'm not, some are more shadier than others, and when I say shady, I'm meaning just sinful behavior. So it can be the very basic ones to the more extreme ones. Everybody has something there that can be a smudge or a blemish, but it's how you respond to the smudge and blemish after you figure out, okay, I got a stain on my white tee. Now I have to realize that, recognize that, and try my best to clean it up, and then also not make any more stains on the white tee, because that stain gonna be there no matter how much you scrub it. Todd Special is still gonna be that little light yellowish. You ain't gonna it's there. So don't ignore it. Don't pretend like it isn't there. Embrace it. Accept it as a part of the building of your character and an old aspect of yourself. As long as it's not a behavior that you are continuing, or an action you are continuing, or a belief you're continuing, then who can fault you? Like I said, everybody has something in the chamber, in the closet, or in the shadows, which they were doing in ignorance, and hopefully they've stopped doing now that they understand that it's ignorant. You see? But yeah, there's so many lessons we can play out back and forth between, dimensions and the moral principles of things and all of that type of stuff. But